Yes, it's time for Cock and Bull on a fresh Monday morning with the rain just having stopped, sort of, where I am here in Fountain with nothing open. I want to thank the Maharashtra government for once again keeping us at level 3, far seeing and great moves so that commerce will completely come to a standstill, even though numbers are dropping. But I guess their point is that we want to make sure it doesn't ever go back to level 3. That's what we said the last time. Anyway, my points remain my points. I don't want to push it down people's throats because I sound like some kind of rebel cowboy from Donald Trump's family. Let's move on to a story that I want to share quickly before I bring in everybody. Everybody means two people. My daughter, who is now the philosopher who I trust with everything, gave me a factoid saying that elephants are the only animals. Listen to this. Elephants are the only animals in the entire world that can't jump. Now, this is what irritates me. When people in forums do these surveys, they don't check every their facts properly. They haven't. Because I can tell you that not only elephants, but my friend Kunal Vijayakar cannot jump. I've never seen him jump. He cannot, his feet have never left the floor. Even when someone is cleaning the floor in his house, they have to pick up the foot themselves and then clean under it. He can't jump. He cannot jump. Anyway, another factor she gave me, but I won't waste time on it, is Coca Cola was initially green. I want to discuss that with this eminent panel. Let's introduce. This apparently is true. Amit Doshi and Silverie. Coca Cola, when it first came out, was green. It's like
I can
racism,
see
you know.
that.
Really?
I can see
Yeah, it
that.
was green. It was a cough
Coca
drop or
Cola.
something. Initially, it
You,
was a medication. Was the intent or something? Was it not?
so it was medication, and it was made of basically cocoa leaves and cocaine.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
no,
And
I'm
the
not
FDA
joking. I'm
was like,
serious.
"What
No,
the
that's true.
hell?
Yeah, yeah,
Color it green and sell
yeah,
it."
yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, it was just
Huh.
cocaine, man. I mean, like it was a cocaine drink. Cocaine was not considered. Cocaine was considered to be good for your
Oh,
health.
that's why when they came up with Coca Cola Classic, they always wink. The model winks at camera. Coca Cola Classic. Eh. Wow.
It was also
Can you believe,
discovered by accident, Coca Cola, if you guys
like
know.
most great things, almost everything,
Yeah,
including children, the ones that achieve a lot of things
yeah,
were accidents. You know, the ones they
yeah.
plan, the babies are terrible. They do nothing with
How
their life.
accident? How accident though? What's the
Uh,
story there?
the carbonated water was mixed by mistake. It was supposed to be just regular water, but carbonated water just made like a
The
wonder,
gas
and then that's
effect
what made it.
came
No,
because
but seltzer has been around for a while before Coca Cola started. Seltzer water, as in like soda water, right?
no,
Yeah,
but
So
the
soda
exactly.
point
Yeah.
for
was
a way,
not to put the
yeah,
seltzer water in. By mistake, somebody put it in. They didn't follow the exact formula of what they were
right.
trying to make.
Exactly.
So what he's
Yeah.
saying is that they, by mix and match, a cocktail happened, which wasn't the intent on paper. And then they said, what the
Okay,
hell, they liked
makes
it
sense.
or whatever. But it was green. Initially, it was green, which just tells you the colors of the rainbow, bro. Everything don't have to be anything. All of us are the same. What is the greatest black drink in the world was actually a green drink once. Like you never know. You know, you find
Yeah,
out that Hitler was 10% Jew. If you do the DNA testing and all that, you know, all these morons of the world, anti-Muslim guys who probably have Muslim blood, Hindu guys who have Muslim guys have Hindu blood. You know, I mean, this is nonsense. The fact of the matter is, if there is a God, he must be laughing. You don't know the truth.
so
Yeah, or she,
everybody
or
in the
she.
world is descended from that one woman, no? There's one
That's.
woman who we've all been able to trace our descendancy to, who was basically this African,
Oh,
out of Africa, kind of this, right?
I was going
Basically
to go
coming
with
out of.
Mrs. Parekh from opposite because she's the oldest
Uh,
person in my lane. But obviously, your research is little outdating me.
my research is a little like older. It's like maybe
Couple
like
of
I think
decades above that.
like a,
Go ahead.
maybe a few more than a few decades above that.
Maybe three or four,
Yeah,
man.
no,
Yeah.
but I think I remember reading that somewhere that I think she's called Mary or something like that now at this point. But she's
They've given her
basically
a
supposed
generic
to be
name.
yeah,
And so we're
she's
all
supposed to be
descendants from the one DNA. Like,
she's supposed to be the mother of us all, or at
but then
least
how
like a
did the
big chunk.
how did the child, not to get into the entire Christian thing, but how was the conception
No,
without the
no, no. So
partner?
I mean, like, so she was not the first. There were more humans than her at that point in time, but she was. So actually, I don't think it's all right. So it's basically she was part of the group that left Africa to travel
The
through.
migrants, the
She
ones
was
who
one of the
migrated.
migrants, right?
They
Exactly. She was one
come
of the
from
first
one DNA, the
migrants.
ones that left
Yeah,
Africa. Now that makes
correct.
sense.
Yeah.
Mary was unhappy with the distribution of land. She got only 3 cows instead of 4, was very angry, uh, and decided to start her own country. So she moved west of Africa and landed in what is now Egypt and started the mummification of that country. You just bury the buggers, dead or alive, and put all the servants with them. I hate that concept. Imagine if you're the
Yeah.
slave of a leader, and when you hope he lives, you're always, sir, how are you feeling? Every day you
But
come home,
that
what's the temperature?
that's how you engender loyalty. No, I die, you die.
Can you imagine? I die. The 19-year-old guy is about to just here for 3 days. You know, what I mean, like, my job was to open doors, and now I'm going to be stuck inside.
So some of this
Let's
stuff is like really insane, right? So over the weekend, I was watching a documentary on the advent of Rome, right? Basically, the various ways that Rome kind of
Romulus and
advanced, right?
Remus, the
So
wolves.
Romulus and Remus, and then like the Scipio family
Yeah,
who
the
conquered
original.
Carthage,
Yeah,
and then the ones who conquered like this. And I was just like this. Dude, the degree to which they took superstition seriously, right? Like, I mean, like, we the word the auguries is something we've heard, right? You've heard about the auguries as like,
yeah,
a way of
yeah.
telling the future and this and that.
Mm.
But then this is the first time I ever kind of saw something which was telling me how they did the auguries, right? And so basically, what they had is there was
Animal
basically what is.
sacrifice.
So it's animal sacrifice, but you have to read the liver of the animal. And what you do with the liver is they have these kinds of standardized liver templates made, right? Which are made in metal or something like that, which tell you exactly what the size of the different parts of the liver are supposed to be. And when certain parts are larger or certain parts are smaller than expected, that is on the basis of which they make their decisions about what there is. And so each section of the liver is dedicated to a different god or goddess. So there's an aspect of war on one part of it, there's an aspect of speed on one part of it. And I was just like, wow, this is like, so I mean, like, this is not just like, let's kill some animals and make some shit up, right? This is actually like, there was a tremendous amount of thought given into how they went about doing this. I thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah, also some mediocre scientists who hated animals came up with the idea somewhere down the line because he couldn't invent anything, and out of frustration said, "Okay, you know what? Let's kill an animal, take out a liver, and I'll read it to you, and I'll tell you what's going to happen." And the next thing he's the biggest guy in town. They're like, "Oh, I want to start a business. Got to check with you." It's still there till today, Amit Doshi. And I know you don't
No, no,
like this
but it is
practice at
100%
all
is.
because all your pet peeves are born perhaps from these cultures and our own, of course, astrology, astronomy, everything. All the oracles and all the occult traditions of predicting and looking forward and looking into bowls. Some of them just look so infantile. Now, why do you look
I
into
do.
a bowl for God's sake? I mean,
Uh,
as an adult male having a conversation with another adult woman or whatever, and she says, "Look, your future's in this bowl." I'm like, what? I mean, I went MBA from Harvard. I worked 17 years in banking. What the hell? And all
yeah,
you look into a small bowl and tell me that my next child will be born with 3 legs. And
yeah,
this is
it's just so much nonsense, right? Isn't it? It's just But the thing is, it all does come from like a sense of there was some thought given to this at some point in time,
what's your
but
take
we
on
know better now.
what let us Stacy fight? What's your take on taking the slippers off? And these are big shots to do it. I mean,
Oh,
including people I know very close to me, etc. Walking to a Siddhi Vinayak or a Tirupati or whatever without shoes for hours and hours, for miles and miles. I
listen,
mean,
people with
it's a,
religious people are delusional. What can you say? You know that.
and poor people on the road looking at the rich person because the Mercedes is following behind and
Yeah.
going in first gear while the
Yeah.
guy walks because for protection his 20 bodyguards and all will be there. I'm like, but what's with that, man? Why do you have to walk? You made all
So
that money so you don't have to walk.
you know the Jain thing, right? About you're supposed to go to temple every day, you're supposed to go without shoes, right?
Correct.
That's supposed to
That's
be a
in,
thing.
huh? Are you supposed to go from the house?
Yeah, from your house. So that's why a lot of the most expensive buildings in our areas are the ones directly opposite Jain
Or they
temples,
build one mandir there for safety. But
right?
who the hell wants to go,
No,
to
but I mean
Kandivali West from Malabar Hill with
the
no slippers?
Chandranbala temple, the main temple on the big temple on the main road, the temple at Sripal Nagar, right? Like these are Jain temples, but the buildings right across them are extraordinarily expensive.
If you want to balance out your karma, instead of taking on this fabulous, sort of self, what's the right word, self-sacrifice, if you may, and you walk from say Andheri to Prabhadevi in hot sun, with nothing under your feet. Why can't you just donate to a charity or look after, say, some children or help build a hospital? There are many ways you can also get good karma,
Why
and
should you? I agree, 100%.
why do you have to walk? No, I'm not talking so much about the superstition as much as the
I
intellectual
think
capacity of the person to accept that as the option.
So
I
I
don't
think,
mind little superstition. My point is, but it's a little juvenile.
well, no. So
no, you don't want
I
to put
think you.
your.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
saying. I think you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So I'll do a little bit of this. I'll do a little bit of that. I'll get goodwill from everywhere, from every angle. I think that's what
That's a great
it's
point.
cumulative effect.
The all-round, the
Yeah,
holistic karma theory. मैं सब कुछ करूँगा. Why
yeah,
take a chance?
yeah.
Huh? Yeah,
Exactly. You
God.
never know.
Anyway, the good thing is at
Sorry,
least
Amit, you
you're
were
born
saying.
here, not in ancient Egypt, where if you were a servant to a rich person, you'd have to go the
Just straight
straight
in.
straight in. There's no question, and you have to take his name and say good things as they bury you. You know, your last words will be,
Yeah.
"Yes, by Osiris, Intipata was a very good man." And you're never seen again. Wow. I
Okay.
can think of a few helps that I have, which I don't mind bearing, but let's not say that. Okay, folks, let's get on with this great show. That's
Yes.
two
Let's.
cock and bulls in a row. We haven't been able to find a guest. So if you're a guest and you think you're suitable for this show, which takes intellectual stimulation to another level from a different perspective, and if you feel that this is the place for you, write into Silverie or email Silverie on silverie.com.
Sure.
I shag sheep. I don't know what would be, I don't know, the appropriate email, Silverie, that
No,
your
that
parents
one's
told you.
correct. You got spot on. Spot on, Cyrus. That was correct.
Smart Alec. I'm the senior. You have to call me Bhai.
Okay.
Oh, Cyrus bhai.
All
Come
right.
on, let's not in
Yes.
fire a bit. Oh, Cyrus bhai. Yeah, le. What's going on? What we have? What's the first one, yaar?
So, pera topic. Pera topic.
हाँ जी,
Oi.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
Okay. The first one
You
is
see, Amit, you gotta learn how to be part of the flavor, yaar. Oh, by the way, guys, sorry, Silver, before you start,
yeah,
Amit
yeah,
is
yeah.
doing this under great duress. He's had a horrible toothache for the last 3 days, and he's in a lot of pain. He's taken what's the medication you've taken?
Flex on.
Flexon, which is basically for pregnant women to ease the muscle in their inner thighs when they're delivering. For some reason, the cheap dentist said this is the one for you because it's
Yes.
lying on his wife's bedside. So he said,
Not
"What
a
the hell
cheap
am I going to use?"
dentist.
No.
Not a
So
cheap dentist.
I touched the Gujarati in you right now, didn't I? It's not about making fun of the dentist. It's about dare you call him cheap. You bore the pain for 48 hours rather than go there and take that bill, which is another pain of another kind. Yeah. Why do they charge
Yes.
so much, man? I
Well,
just don't get healing and charging. I just don't get it. It sounds morally wrong.
it's well, no, it's not morally wrong, right? I mean, like these are people
As
providing a service
as
which you
it is,
require.
I'm saying any society has to. It's like the NHS or whatever. You've got to have the government has to play ball in this.
Well,
It's a
so
little
there are
unfair.
government hospitals which are available to you, right? You just choose not to use them.
Yes, but have you been to them recently? Or
That's why you
recently,
choose
shoot
not
them
to
up a
use
little
them.
bit. Yeah, yeah.
That's why you choose not to use them, right? I mean, like it's difficult, right? I mean, like the healthcare. How do you? So if you're a doctor, right, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work to become a doctor. Uh, and I would not be happy if I was a doctor and I was told that we're going to tell you how much money you can make. Nobody else has any. You have no say in it, right? I wouldn't be happy with that.
No.
So
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying that
like,
they should charge. I'm saying that
oh,
some of that money for the charge and they should charge according to reputation and name. That's also fair. But some of the money should be supplemented by the government. I just feel it should, like
well,
for all citizens,
it should, right?
including the
But like
ones who
if
go to Prabhadevi, Siddhivinayak by without chappals because they're very
but
rich.
So here's the question, right? I mean, like I was talking to a friend of mine who's in the insurance business about this, right? That why do we not have dental insurance? Because dude, I spent some money on this dentistry stuff, right, over the last couple of years, and I was like, why don't we have dentistry insurance? Why don't we have dental insurance like they do in the U.S.? Because I spend almost no money on like actual healthcare, but on dental stuff I spend mad money. And he's just like, because you won't want to pay the premiums that would be applicable for dental insurance if you
Also, when
want
you
to get.
die, your smile will look great. I mean, there's a positive in all that, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's true. No,
Yeah,
but
but
he
you're
was
right.
telling me, yeah, you don't want to pay the premiums, right? If you want to get dental insurance done in India,
What are the
right, from a
premiums like?
good
Give me an
dentist,
idea.
yeah, I mean, like you'd be looking at something like 60, 70,000 bucks a year.
I mean, for you, what is it? 60, 70,000 bucks. But then I
Well,
get
I
your
mean,
point. If it's a
it's a
standard
lot.
rate, won't be able to afford it.
Yeah,
It has to be up and down. Let me
no,
put
and
Silvery onto this. He'll solve it. Silvery, you have to find a sort of holistic number which everyone can live with. Or if you're doing like a tax situation where you go up or down depending on the society's ability to earn money, then that also should be sort of fair. Because if it's like
Yeah.
1% of my income, it should be 1% of Raju's income. By Raju, there are lots of rich Rajus also. I'm just taking a generic name. If you'd like me to take another name,
Yeah.
Rahim. Again, lots of rich Rahims. I'll take a third name.
Ravi.
Rocky. Rocky is good. Rocky is safe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
Rocky is good.
So a
Silvery,
number
over
for
to you,
me,
sir.
100 million maybe dollars.
On
for what?
health,
That's enough.
on
Like you're talking
premiums,
about
for
premiums for what?
insurance.
Sorry.
So you don't have
Oh,
to
for
pay when you
insurance. Oh,
actually
sorry,
get it.
sorry, sorry. I was
So
thinking like
if
how
you
much
don't pay
you.
attention to the show, then what do we expect
Sorry,
anybody else to do?
I was
And you're
reading
in the show. Look at the quality of the show, Amit. Just look at it. It just speaks for
I was reading
itself.
the comments. Sorry.
Out of three, 33% don't even care about their own show, which they're in. They're inside the show and not, you know what I mean? How can you be inside the
Yeah,
show
I'm
and
just trying to understand what context led you to $100 million number,
I don't
because
know.
there's
No, no.
nothing that we could have been talking
He's
about that could have
playing
led
on
to that
his
number.
phone. I want to expose this kid. He's watching porn all the time. He sees
No,
two
no.
ugly
I'm reading
middle-aged
the
men
comments.
and he's lost interest.
I
When you have
got
a girl on the show, he's very interested. It changes completely. The man is prejudiced. I'm telling you. It's only you and me who are treated with disdain. He's on some freaking midgets from Germany.
no, no,
One of his favorite.
no,
Again, I
no.
apologize to anybody who. These are the titles that I've seen. It's not mine to give. Huh. Sorry.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard Cyrus ask, "How much money would you need in your entire life so that you don't have to work ever?" Like so it's
Oh,
similar to that.
okay.
Or, yeah,
Ah,
Okay,
but no,
all
no.
right.
ambitious young
For
man.
What
yeah,
what you need is you need Cyrus Brocha's net worth, right? You know what you get from Google. That's what you
Yeah.
yeah,
need.
from Google is $100 million.
Yeah.
Or is it? I forgot.
So for me, Google
All
has
right.
been 80% fiction, especially when trying to find small studios in Jogeshwari, and they go into the lane opposite. And you're literally there 15 minutes before you realize it's the other lane. But it clearly says take a left and not a right. These are mistakes which are very odd for me. Unless they thought there was a back lane, in which case the left became a right, which there may have been. I don't know. But how do you
So
access
I
that?
think a lot of the problem right now is that roads are just opening and shutting during the pandemic, and we're not out all the time, so we don't know them,
Google
right?
can't keep up with
Yeah.
maintenance in India. Let's
Yeah. No,
face
no.
it. PWD in India
So
fucks Google. Sorry to use
where did
bad
I go?
language.
I went to Babulnath the other day, and apparently right now the Chopati to Babulnath Road is shut from 2 p.m. and it's open and from 2 p.m. Sorry, from morning till 2 p.m. It's only from Babulnath to Chopati. That road is a one way. I didn't know.
That's where the kids' school is, right there. So they
Yeah,
better let them out under two if there was school. But of course, there isn't school. But there is
that
school, but
is
it's
cool.
online, whatever. Just like our
Yeah,
show.
no, but I mean, like I think all of that, right? In my building, like the way to come to my building has been shut 3 different times in the last 6 months. Once you had to come from this way, once you had to come from this way, once you had to come from this way. They're just shutting down different roads. They're doing
Yeah.
them. Hopefully, by the time we get out of pandemic, we'll have a much better
What a funny thing
road
to say.
situation.
Right. Yeah, it'll all be
Get out
ready.
of pandemic.
And then they wait for the
Are,
cheese test. That's another big deal.
are
We
you
should-
laughing at the idea of getting out of pandemic itself?
No, I'm laughing at the idea of a PWD ever doing
Roads are
anything
getting
properly.
better.
This
Yeah.
never ends. It just never ends. It never will end.
Correct.
I'm
Yeah,
too
that is
cynical
true.
about that. Please, as a self-driver and a self-pedestrian or whatever, that doesn't make sense. But as a pedestrian also, it's just horrible. And South Bombay just looks like it's been hit by bombs all the time, man.
Yeah, I
The
know,
hole here,
man.
a hole there. In our lane, the trees fell, and the holes are still there. There's no new trees, which were promised
It's
about 2 weeks ago. They haven't come
it's
yet.
Yep.
just there, man. I mean, like it's this stuff's just not moving. It's crazy.
I want to just take 5, 6 of the most anxious and scared and paranoid neighbors and put them in that hole. In which case, two birds with one stone that covers the hole, and we get rid of them and their fear. Sensitive Cyrus here. Let's go back to Silvery. Silvery, let's
Yes.
get on. We had some nice topics, man. Where have I
Yes.
written mine?
We
Sure.
had
Yeah. We have some great
we
Have
topics.
had
you humanitarian of the year so far? Is that Dilip Lande? Yes, that's his name. Lande,
Yep.
Lande.
Yep.
I
So
That's the name.
we can start with Dilip Lande first then.
What's his name?
I'm just gonna Dilip Lande.
Oh, okay.
Lande? Okay, Lande.
Watch it.
Okay.
Don't be insulting, but
Okay,
just,
sure,
just
sure.
saying the name does
All
sound a
right.
little funny. Yeah.
land.
Yeah,
Let's
Dilip
just call
Paji.
him
you're
land.
right.
Yeah. Okay, so talk about Dilip Paji for 1 minute, please.
Yes. So Dilip Lande is a Shiv Sena MLA, and I'm just going to play this video.
Yeah, this video
He
has to be seen by
basically,
the world.
yeah. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we can see it.
All right. So basically, Dilip Lande, Shiv Sena MLA, he got a hold. Oh, by the way, he's from Chandivali. Chandivali is my area where I stay. So apparently, he
Were you
got.
part of the group? The
Uh,
mob?
So he's your
no, I wasn't.
MLA.
Yeah, he's my MLA. I don't even know
Your
who he
MLA.
is.
Your-
Yeah,
And whether it's land
but
or water, he's always there. Go on.
yeah, exactly. So he basically there was some water logging in the area, and he got a hold of one of the BMC workers who was in charge of this
Lower
water
grade,
log
not even the
situation.
top class, just the guy who's actually doing things. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
just the guy.
Oh, wait,
Exactly.
so it was an
So
operations
he
guy. It wasn't even like the officer.
Operations guy, bro. It's like taking the spot boy on a set and beating
was
him up for the shoot happening,
he was
and
a
not the
contractor.
producer.
It said
That yeah.
it says he was a contractor though. The guy who was
They're
made to
all
sit.
contractors, but he's low level, bro. Look, just watch the video. Show the video.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's a 2 minute video. We can't wait for that long.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah. So see this.
Also,
This
we
is Dilip
have most
Lande.
people listening to us on audio, so we have to describe. So, okay, so he's pushing an engineer.
No, he's pushed him onto the wet floor with pouring rain,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is a complete assault. Excuse me, this is not less
Yeah,
than
yeah, he
assault.
should be in. He should be in jail. He should be, no doubt.
And he's standing there like a crusader, thinking he's done great work. I, on one hand, of course, get very irritated when the work is not done. We've just discussed that. But how
No,
dare
but
you do this?
He's
no,
making his own
again,
workers put garbage on him. He's
What?
forcing his own workers to
To
drop
throw
garbage on
garbage
him, man.
on this guy to humiliate him.
Man, that is
yeah, it's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
What's amazing is that for once they couldn't find too much garbage. They're doing their best. But for a city filled with garbage, they was having little trouble finding it. That's quite okay. Obviously, nobody's interested in my point. Amit, you seem shell shocked, like you
I'm
live in
just,
another
yeah,
country.
no, I'm amazed, right? I mean, like, well, this happened in the Antariksh's MLA. This is
Which is
Antariksh's
Yeah,
MLA.
exactly.
And stop pointing
Ridiculous.
fingers at Jharkhand, Bihar, UP and saying only violence happens there, Haryana, as the 4-5 bad states of India. We have some horrible elements across the length and breadth of our country, which we should be proud of, like Dilip Bhai here. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, he just made, I mean, just look at the humiliation and the stupidity of it.
Yeah,
And
what's
he
Yeah,
had already
absolutely.
told him to call the boss and the hierarchy and the boss above that boss and everything, to show his weight and power. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
he said, we will stop putting dumping garbage on you when your boss shows up." I'm like,
Yeah.
are you dude? Are you
Then
crazy to
we'll
even say that? Yeah.
it,
they will
it makes
recycle and put the garbage on the boss. That was the idea.
that, yeah. No, but I mean, just like, how is this guy walking around? He should be in jail. He should
That's
be,
what I'm
right?
saying. This is assault.
Absolutely.
You saw. I mean, those who can't see those who just having the audio feed here, he was pushed down onto the floor. He's scared. He's crapping his pants because he's got the 40 of these supporters there against him, and they're all, testosterone is rampant. Everybody's screaming and shouting, and then they decide to throw garbage on him while he sits there. I mean, how humiliating is that? I mean, who does that to another human being? I'd rather
Yeah,
much prefer we punch him in the face and they just got into a fist fight and ended
You,
it. I mean, there's some
that's
dignity in
actually very
that, but this
possible.
is ridiculous.
It's actually very possible that they actually did a little bit of violence. They probably shoved him. They probably like pushed
Yeah,
him. So
they're
he pushed him onto
showing
the
you.
ground, right?
They are
Yeah,
showing you
they
what they
already did all
think is
that.
the just desserts punishment to show that the law has
Yeah.
taken its course and all. While fundamentally they are right to fight against the contractors. Keep in mind, Shiv Sena only own the BMC, at least up to this coming election, and
yeah.
Shiv Sena only are
Yeah,
responsible.
exactly.
So I don't get
So
it. It's
he's
like me
basically
slapping my
criticizing his own
son.
party.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is a
in a
contractor.
way.
He's an external party. It's just the. But again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm making excuses, right? This is an outside company or someone like that whose job it is to do
But
this
that is
stuff.
just the process that they follow, Amit.
Yeah,
What's the point of that? At the end of the day, if I use a freelancer as a vendor when I shoot a film or do a podcast, they're still part of the whole deal,
he's
no?
part of the team, exactly. Yeah. No, there's no excuse for this, right? What possible excuse can there possibly
Who
be for
does
someone?
this? How can you come to leadership when you behave like this? Would you ever do this to anyone?
How can you
Because,
come to
it's really
leadership in
angry.
India if you do not behave like this?
Yeah, right. Sorry. Oh God, really? I
But
stand corrected. Absolutely spot on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
but we all know what will happen in the next 2 days because it went viral online. This guy will apologize. Oh, I didn't mean to do it that way. I meant it in this regard, and then nothing will happen. This guy
He
won't
won't even
won't see
apologize.
any serious
He'll
punishment.
disappear. He'll be asked to stay out of the publicity ring for a little while. Then he'll
Maybe,
just
yeah,
disappear.
Yeah.
And somebody else will say, this is a lone incident. You don't know what happened before. They'll disguise it
yeah,
and all that,
yeah,
and just push it under the table. What about the humiliation of that young man? I mean, how dare
exactly.
he be disrespected in that manner? In any proper democracy,
Yeah.
there's no question that action would have been taken. I mean, imagine in Sweden this happening, for example. Let's look at the high countries in terms of morality and ethics. Go to a Scandinavian country and tell me if this could ever happen. Oh my God. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
it doesn't.
ridiculous.
It's not even that, right? I mean, like, why do you even have to look at that? You can just look at anybody's, any developed country. You can't see this kind of shit happen anywhere, right? I mean, like, why Scandinavia? Why? I mean, it should not happen here, right? I mean, like, to say that, that we are a country that's backward and to kind of say that
No,
this
no,
is.
I have an internal rift here, which is my track is slightly different. We Mumbaikars go on pointing fingers at North Indians and saying all the crap happened. My friend Kunal, all the time. The Biharis, the UPIs, this kind of racism, regionalism that he propagates and others propagate, not knowing that after some time that it's not that much different.
It's
Maharashtra is
not.
not that much different. Why are we saying all this? Don't think 3 states in India are responsible for all the violence and atrocities and savage medieval sort of attitudes. It's this whole medieval backward attitude that we're really looking at more than anything else. My
So I
God,
think.
no. It happens in the
I,
south. It happens in the east. It happens here.
so I think the fundamental issue, right, is the idea that the people who we elect, right, do they work for the public or does the public work for them? Who answers to who here? Right, and the thing is that India is a very feudally driven society historically, right? In the sense that like even like I mean, like if anybody talks, if you talk to somebody who comes from a smaller village, right, they have to go back for elections. It doesn't matter what, they have to go back for elections, because the person who is the MLA from that particular area is the person who is there, like, he basically takes care of all their shit, or at least the perception is he takes care of all their stuff, right? So when he says come back and vote for the elections, you go back and vote for the elections,
It's
right?
also a
And
sorry, go on.
it's this, so, it's just it's this feudalism aspect, right? It's this idea that our MLAs or our MPs or our ministers or whatever, right, are basically part not of a democracy, or at least they are part of a democracy in some senses, but we treat them as if they are our feudal lords.
But let's think. We can't say for sure, but let's look at what could have happened before. In the area, in Silverie's area, Silverie's family and others have called up their local MLA and or the people who are close to the MLA and absolutely, went after, berated the guy and said, "Look, boss, ये कब से हुआ? अभी कुछ नहीं हुआ. कितना दिन से complaint मारते हैं हम लोग, कुछ नहीं हुआ." And etc. etc. And let's say a few days have passed. So there's a graph where the guy is going. He's probably warned the guy or whatever a couple of times, and then finally he comes and he does that. Even then, now he had the moral right up to then, in a sense, saying that, boss, what's happening? A, it's his own system which is in place. They're in power. They're also in power in the BMC. B, it's a humanity thing. After some point, you just don't behave like
Yeah.
this. The
Absolutely.
punishment and the crime are just gone out of the window.
Oh,
Nobody behaves
how
like that.
how do you treat people like that? How do you think you can
Yeah.
treat people like that, right? I mean, like, they're people. How can you treat people like that? It's just insane.
I mean, he didn't do that with
Yeah.
Kasab. Kasab, when he was caught, was not ill-treated in this manner. I mean, that's the highest of high crimes I can think of. I mean, really. I mean, sometimes you have to look at the BMC's side of things as well. Maybe they didn't have enough people that day. Maybe the cyclone
No,
before that has
don't
stopped them.
excuse them. They're they
No,
they
no,
they
no,
they're it's inexcusable that this kind of flooding has happened. It's
no.
inexcusable that this kind of violence happened.
Everyone has a right to their opinion, and we have to have a civil society where a legal process is followed, due process is followed. I'm saying, how do we know? We don't know 100%. What you're saying is 90% correct. We're all angry with them. They're always, whenever monsoon comes. We're going to show another one before we go into break as well, where we'll definitely be on the side of weather-beaten Mumbaikars once again, year after year after year in Ghatkopar. We can go into that. In fact, Silverie,
Yeah.
which is in Ghatkopar, a car basically, Amit, went
Yeah,
the
sure.
garage.
I'll show, I'll show.
Yeah, okay, just take a look. But we'll have to explain it for those who can't see. And when I say can't see again, I don't mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not necessarily that they're
Ouch.
blind, but they're
And
just
yeah, yeah. And
consuming
not
us
that
over
bad thing
audio.
either. Oh my God.
So,
Apologize to
yeah,
everyone at the beginning. Yeah, go ahead.
this is the car
Now,
in Ghatkopar. Just
I mean, it's
entered
like a video
just
game.
drowned in a sinkhole.
Yeah, for those who can't, I'm so sorry because it's a loss of valuables. But it's like a bad video game
Yeah.
from the 90s or 80s when Amit
Yeah.
was a young man. I'm so sorry. I really
Just vanished.
so I'm so sorry. This is wrong. We
I'm
shouldn't
gonna play
laugh.
it again. Just,
And then you have to play it again. For those who can't see the visual, it looks like a pretty big car. I can't quite tell which car it is. And
it's
it
a Hyundai
basically
Creta, I think.
Hyundai Creta, which is not
I don't
exactly,
think it's
I
a
think it
Creta.
looks.
I think it's the venue. It looks too small for a
okay,
Creta.
okay, guys, let's not give the brand.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't tell. But it actually sank
No,
for
you
those
can
who can't
see
see.
the age for Hyundai. Age you can see.
All right, I think
Not
that's a
that it's
Yeah,
legal
that's what
Hyundai's
issue.
I know.
fault, right?
I
I'm
know.
glad
Hyundai
that
is
those
not
who want to
supposed to
sit
be.
here and fight over whether it's a Hyundai or a Maruti or whatever.
No, but
I'm glad
it's
that's what
not.
we're getting out of it.
It's not
Because
Hyundai's fault. No, it's not as if you expect
what the
Hyundai to
hell are
make
you
Yeah,
floating
yeah,
saying?
cars.
correct.
Leave Hyundai alone. Let's get back to the point here. Again, for those who didn't see, the car basically submerges in seconds. It's really for me like a video game. It actually was there. Then in a few seconds you see it. I mean, it's surreal, and then it just sort of disappears. And I'm sorry, I apologize for laughing. It's very insensitive, but it just, I mean, how when we're looking at Beijing,
But
India, Mumbai
but
becoming like Shanghai, and this and that, and you see these pictures, and you think, my God.
so for this one though,
Sorry,
they
Sylvia.
have at least for this one though, at least they have a good enough explanation.
Which is
That it's not even the
underground parking.
BMC's fault.
Huh.
No, this was under that area there was a well that they had basically put a slab over, and that was all they're done, and then
Who
like
put the
covered
slab over the building while building?
covered. No, the locals in the area, where in Ghatkopar, in
Okay.
that area. That's what the article says.
What do you mean
So
by
because of
locals?
the rains,
A
that
civic body
land
has to do
underneath.
it, or the builder has to do it. Who? What local can do it?
It must be the
Yeah,
builder
you're
only.
right.
No,
Actually,
it's
To
a
build a
parking
car
lot.
park, he
It's
wants
a
the
car lot.
area. So yeah, there's got to be a matlabi reason. Now, why would you do
Yeah.
it? Sorry, go on, go on.
yeah. So because of the rains, that slab thing became very soft, and that's what it gave way, and the car was right on top of it, and that's why
That's
it's
not a reason. That's what. That's not a reason. They had a
the
well which they
explanation.
covered, and then the car went into the well. And what's your reaction? Ah, well,
Yeah, that's true. You're
okay.
right.
So now we are almost on Dilip Lande's side because now we see the other side of it. But we're laughing. But if it was my car, trust me, whenever my
Dude,
car's been hit by a coconut and on another occasion a tree fell on another car years before, and I was in tears. Okay, I was in tears because it's like bad karma. You start, all kinds of things go through your mind. What the hell? This guy parks his car. He goes to watch the Euro Cup, and in 20 minutes at halftime, he looks out of the window. His car is drowned. His car has drowned. Okay, 21st century India, here we come.
Yes.
If your car is round, कृपया ध्यान दीजिए. Call this number LN2177 344. Call Urvashi. What the fuck, man? Your car is. I'm sorry, Silverie, it's the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. I mean,
yeah,
in a dark way, in a dark way.
yeah.
Oh boy, we'll have to
No.
apologize to car manufacturers and everything. Big Hyundai fan myself, but what the hell?
I don't
Amit,
know.
any reaction? We have to go to break. It's
No,
10:31.
I mean it's again, I mean, like I said, the BMC, right? I mean, like they're not exactly the best in terms of just generally making sure the city's well run, right? I mean, like this is a BMC thing, right? I mean, like there should be an inspection when you're building a parking lot. So I mean, like, what are you gonna say? It's just,
Yeah. Can you
man,
imagine just coming out? Can you imagine just coming out of the restaurant wherever you're gone and see, like, dude, I'm sure I
where's my
parked my
car?
car here somewhere.
And then
There
you
Yeah,
is a
like
see
what?
this
lesson.
you see this
There's a le-
massive puddle, right? And you can't see
Yeah,
underneath it because it's so dark, right? And so
but
you're
exactly.
just like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
But the lesson here that has to be learned is if you're in Ghatkopar at a dealership, always ask if your car is waterproof before you buy. These are essential questions nobody's asking. We'll take a break and I will be back after this break, which literally is like the car that went into the hole because in a few seconds the break is over and we're back again, fresh and happy. But last word on the subject, we haven't even been able to get to anything. Monsoon mayhem. I'm in the media. I work in TV stations, so I sort of know they just love it. It's almost with
Yeah.
glee. And Mumbai is like Donald Trump; doesn't fail to disappoint. I don't know. Every year, I mean, how many years? I mean, it's not even funny anymore. It's like we're just waiting. Okay, now let's have some fun. What should we write about in our skits and all that? We know we've got a whole monsoon quota now, just like we had, this quarantine quota, etc., etc. This is there.
Yeah, there's bound to be one set of flooding. Set of flooding. All of the journalists already
Bro,
have their articles
two
ready
buildings collapsed.
about the spirit
People
of
have died.
Mumbai.
Yeah, spirit of
Yeah,
Mumbai. Oh God, don't
yeah.
start
So
that
all of
crap.
that stuff is all ready
Oh,
now. It's already ready, right? I mean,
you
like
should
it's just
drown
waiting
the
to go.
spirit of Mumbai with that car. This crap about spirit of Mumbai. Talk to the person who lost 10 lakhs on that car. You know,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, really. Talk to the people who lost their lives in those two building collapses. The landslides and all that. It's all shoddy work and
Yeah.
the inability to deal with the monsoon. It all comes together. Let's not
It
face it.
is
It is.
just it's that only. No, I mean that's the number one problem we have. Why do we have to make roads every year? Because we don't know how to make roads that will last more than a couple of months, more than a monsoon, a single monsoon.
Of course, there's a
Right?
theory that's purposely done, Jan Bujke, as we
I
as
don't
we
think
call
it's
it.
a theory. I
No,
think
in
it's
the sense
obvious.
that because PW makes more money, the more time they can
Yeah.
work. The more vendors are involved, the more kickbacks are involved. If
Yeah.
you want to be negative, that's just makes sense. That just
If
actually
you're
makes
a
sense. Do not have a
if
Singapore. You don't want to do something and not touch it for
yeah,
40 years. That's horrible. Look at Singapore. There's no bribery. There's no
yeah.
money to be made. That's your salary and that's your life.
If you are a vendor, why would you do high quality work when low quality work is what is being required of you?
Because you got
You
you
Yeah.
got
wouldn't,
three
huh?
jobs instead of one job every year. I mean, it makes sense, right? I've got three clients out of one client, for example. Just do the
Mhm.
maths. But the
Yep.
thing is, because no one, what is their conscience? Because ultimately, people die, people loss of life, the loss of valuables, the loss of all kinds of things. I mean, that accountability is not really, it doesn't come into the fore in the end. It gets buried in the quagmire of all this bureaucracy of who's responsible, finger pointing. The engineer, he's not there. The locals moved the well. This one ordered it. That person is dead now. I mean, in all that, it gets sort of
And
And
buried.
yeah, like how often have you come across like 1 month they made like they remade the road, and the very next month it is just spoiled right again. It happens all the time. Like in my
yeah,
area, Just recently, like 2 months back, they remade our entrance road to our colony, and again already it is showing like cracks and all. There's like a puddle which is already forming there. It is
Yeah.
ridiculous. They
But
never
Yeah,
do
the,
it
so
on
the other
just
time.
thing,
They never do it
the other
properly.
thing I never understood, right, is why does all of this work have to end in the month of May?
it doesn't end
What?
in May. It's still
No.
actually not ended. They're saying it's ended. Hence, the work is this shoddy. No, they don't really
Yeah.
complete it. They complete under pressure because the inability. The efficiency is the one thing is efficiency. The second question is it efficiency with malice or efficiency just inefficiency.
So
Those are two different points. But
that's right. So I generally prescribe to the don't imbue malice where, like, incompetence is
yeah, we
enough.
don't have
Right?
proof mostly, so
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah, so I generally believe that incompetence is more than sufficient to cause these kinds of issues, right? But this is not incompetence, right? Because again, this is like it's by design, been put like this, and maybe it might have been designed like this years ago, but nobody's changed it, right? Why
Also, I
is
just
the
infrastructure of Mumbai is just not able to take on all the buildings and
uh,
the resurfacing that we are doing. I'm telling you, just find a place and just go there now. We're just too many of us, 22 million people with all their worldly possessions, and they're just killing the surface. So much so
I
that this
don't
poor
think
man living in Powai now has Lake Powai at his doorstep, where it
I
was
don't
100
think the
yards away.
I don't think the population is the problem. Bombay is a big city geographically, right? Because when you're talking about 25 million, you're talking about Greater Mumbai. You're not talking about just Bombay. You're talking about Thane. You're talking about New Bombay. You're talking
But
about like
it's a load the population is putting on, no?
no, but my
On
point
everything.
being, it's not that high. It's not that high a population. Bombay is one of the biggest cities in the world, right? But considering the landmass it's spread out on, and given what the future of the world is going to be, the future of the world is cities. The future of the world is not villages and towns, right? The future of the world is big cities because that's where maximum kind of value is being generated, generally speaking, right? Now, this pandemic kind of throws that into the air a little bit, where people are thinking that, hey, you don't necessarily need to be where you want to, but I don't buy that being this. I think
But
that.
you look at the correlation between small cities with quality townships, less
Hmm,
people, and you don't see all this happening too much. You won't have this happening, let's say, in Wellington, okay, which will have a
okay.
smaller population. Oh, it's a largest city, but it's a very small population, so it's easy to control everything.
But
There's far
look
more
at
sense
it.
of discipline from, no, I'm saying from us as well. In terms of looking after our property, looking after the road, having an interest in the surface that you're living on. The building tenants, etc., the people out there will all be playing a role. Should have been playing a role, but now
I
it's too
don't know
late.
if I buy that so much, right? I think that if you look at smaller cities in India, they're disasters, man. They're disasters, right? I mean, like if you go to Nagpur, or if you go, and Nagpur's not even
It's not a
really all
small
that
city.
small a city, right? But I mean, like it's still
Nagpur is
Nagpur
very
from a
efficient right now. You've taken the wrong one. Yeah.
how is
I've
it
been to
The
very
roads
Agra.
are lovely. The
Agra.
roads are
Amit is
lovely.
right about
Everything's
Agra.
yeah,
working.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to go
Agra,
to
how is
another city.
what's your thinking on
Yeah.
Agra?
I haven't
Agra,
been to Agra in
very
many years.
mismanaged.
Yeah,
Very
I mean, like
mismanaged as a
most of
city.
these
Yeah.
cities are, right? I mean, like Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
I mean, like most of these cities are problematic as hell, right? And so I don't think
And who are you
I think
blaming? The finger of
you
accountability for you is on whom or who?
the population of India, we get the leaders we
But that's the
deserve, right? We
point
get
in a way. That's the point in a way. So what you're saying is but then, so what are you saying? We have to change the leaders by becoming leaders ourselves?
no,
We have
we
to
had to
show more
change the
interest in active
leaders.
politics and
We had
civic
to show more
society?
interest. Yeah, we had to show more interest in active, polite society, and we need to stop giving a shit about national level politics. We need to really care about local
Yeah, I
politics
agree
because
with you.
that's what
National level
really
politics
matters.
can take a flying, we should only
It
look at
doesn't
our
matter.
locality. Just
That should
worry.
not matter,
Exactly.
man.
Yeah.
Who gives
I'm
a shit if if in the budget the cost on VAT or sorry of GST on steel is 2.1% or
yeah.
2.2%? How does that affect anybody? It
My
doesn't.
life
But
is
what does
Churchgate to
affect?
Parel. I am just concentrating
Yeah.
on that. Occasionally, I have to go to Andheri. I'll suffer that. But I agree with you totally.
No, but
Silvery,
local government.
come to power.
Yeah.
With a name like Silvery, you will win everything. Of course, that means
Yeah.
it just insinuates you're second place all the time. But what the hell? Second place is something.
That's
Look
true.
where we are
Yeah.
now. Oh, all right. Shall we go to the AMAs or do we have time for
Uh,
one
Yeah.
story or what?
Let's go to
I
the
think
AMAs. We have quite a lot of
monsoon
questions.
has taken care of everything. So we'll have to save the other stories for another day. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. All right. The AMAs. The first question comes in from New Kids. He says, Antariksh, given your name is Space, did you consider bidding for a seat with Jeff Bezos
Ah,
for 11
hey,
minutes space ride? How much were you
man.
short of the 28 million needed?
who got
Uh,
it?
yeah, yeah. I was short of only 1 million, man. I had 27 million ready to go. I was like, damn it, it's 28. I can't make it.
Then
Sadly.
dad stepped in and said,
Uh,
"No, beta, limit." Yeah,
yeah, yeah, correct. Don't waste you'll see, you'll need that
yeah,
money
yeah,
later.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
worry.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, but
But
I would
who's the
definitely want to
mystery?
go on a space ride for sure. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't you? Would you guys be interested in going on space ride? Lines?
I mean, thinking.
Depends.
Also, for me, it's elitism at its best. You know that only 17 people in the world can actually get into this auction. It's just ridiculous. 28
That's
million
true.
dollars for a
Yeah.
space ride. I mean, wow. Oof. And let's hope nothing, God forbid, happens to any of them.
You know what
Yeah.
would be
But who's,
hilarious?
yeah,
What would be hilarious if is the only person who's with Jeff Bezos is Elon Musk in that flight because he's the only one who can afford it properly. So it's just the two space billionaires in space just roaming
yeah,
around.
but they haven't revealed the name, have they, of the 28 million guest?
No, I don't
I
think they
don't
have.
think so.
I think I think the bidding and all is still going on, if I'm not wrong, or it's about to start, something like
I think it was done.
that.
And that was the figure they came to, whoever the guest was bid at 28 million.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Dilip Laande from the MLA from the earlier video. It's got to be someone with money. 28 million. I mean, oof, ouch. Amit is checking online as we speak to
Yeah,
make
I'm
sure
just
that this
checking.
podcast gives you award-breaking news information above anybody else. Don't put on a television set, for God's sake. We'll give it to you.
I know.
And as I speak, I'm elongating every sentence to give him time for his fat
Just to give me
fingers
time to
to
be
hit
able
the
to figure out
keyboard.
where
Yeah,
this is happening.
with the toothache, it's difficult for him. Uh,
Unidentified bidder.
See, I told you. So it has to be an
Oh.
Indian. I have a few names. I won't mention any. But it has
28
to be an Indian.
million. What
Hey,
is 28
Adani.
million?
It
28
could be
million is
basically anyone in the Lok Sabha.
like 175 crores, right?
Yeah, I don't know. You do the maths. It's 7 crores into 100,000 into
196 crores.
196 crores for a ride one way. Then they say find your way back. Here's the parachute. Yeah, but what would be great if he
Oh.
goes into space, Jeff Bezos. He goes into space and then tests Amazon. He buys himself a little, disc player or something, and he logs into Amazon, and Amazon has to deliver. That would be a real test. Can they get through to space?
Sure.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't. Would you like to go to space, Amit? It's a little scary, no?
I'm not that interested. Not until it becomes as easy as taking a flight from Bombay to Delhi.
I'm worried about the peeing and stuff. Like if you take a crap or pee and then the stuff
Yeah.
just floats around. I mean,
I'm,
that's
I'm not.
ridiculous. Your pee's everywhere. I mean, I don't know how does
Yeah.
that work.
Well, no, so that's exactly what happens, right? I mean, like you have to then spend time cleaning the shit up, right? I mean, like
Literally, this is
literally.
literal now. I mean, nobody talks literally like this. It's like a metaphor
So
normally. Yeah.
no, I mean, like I just
The shit hits the fan. Yeah. Welcome to space, beta. God.
well, I don't see the appeal, to be honest with you. I mean, like if if space travel was so you need to be one of two types of people, right? If you're a person who is really, really into the idea of space travel, you become an astronaut or what have you, right? Or you have to be Jeff Bezos, who has so much money that he's just looking for weird ass stuff.
Exactly, bro. It's these guys. They need
Yeah.
their kicks. Now, how do you get your kicks? You can buy any car, any plane. You've been to any country. You're treated like God everywhere you go, including India, or maybe not China, but everywhere else. And then so you need a new kick. So there's a new kick. The poor guy. I
But
mean,
wouldn't you
what is
do
he?
it? Wouldn't you do it if it's more reasonably priced?
No, if I was super rich, would still not pay 28 million because that makes no
Yeah.
sense.
28
Yeah.
million is that's crazy.
Okay,
just-
but
But
let's say you were super rich. Let's say you had $50 million in the bank, right? So $50 million is 350 crore rupees you have in the bank. How much would you pay? I wouldn't pay a buck.
50 lakhs.
I wouldn't pay a rupee
Somewhere there.
until it was until there was
The
an
wife doesn't
airport at
find
the
out.
spot where I need to go. Or if you're just basically taking a ride up and coming down to go see space, then maybe I'd pay some
If
money.
it doesn't titillate you enough, then why are you even having this conversation? No,
Yeah.
there's no point. Whether we have money or not, it's just not something that we want to do. For me,
Yeah.
I would rather see polar bears and find out if they're truly left-handed,
Agreed.
which is
There you go.
another theory. All polar bears are left-handed. Is this true or not?
Hey, so
there's so
by the
many
way,
wow.
funny
Maya
things
was
you can
wrong
do.
about the elephant thing, huh?
Which other animal can jump?
Which other animal cannot jump?
Sorry, cannot jump.
Snails cannot jump.
Mammal. Okay, let's keep mammal then. Maybe it's mammal. My
Okay,
fault.
even in mammals,
Name.
sloths cannot jump.
They can. They actually do a little jump. They do a little
Do they
jump.
really? I don't
They
think
finally
so.
die with a jump. They commit suicide very, very often.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mentioned slots anyway when I mentioned Kunal. So hey,
And
covered.
do hippos jump?
Now this is what titillates me and you. All right, those guys go to space. We are going into the savannah. We're going to find ourselves a hippo, and we're going to make the hippo jump. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if a hippo jumps because hippo is mostly in the water,
I'll
right?
tell you what. You have to go to a hippo, put your finger in his anus, and see his reaction. Okay. Just to tell you, the most number of humans killed in Africa are
Yep.
by hippos.
I know
So
it's
go ahead,
the most
but you
dangerous
got to see
animal
him
in the
Amit,
jump.
world.
If it's the last thing you
Amit,
do,
you're right. Amit,
what?
you're right. It says hippos, they are incapable of jumping, but do climb up steep banks. But they are incapable of jumping.
Okay.
That's what it says. Yeah, but
Okay,
so pretty cool. Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
huh.
it back to Maya and
No,
I'll
no,
tell
no.
her. But
What
until
about
we clear
rhinos?
this, oh God.
The
Okay, all right.
rhinos are on
Once we,
Yeah.
land.
he's got 10 fingers. So one finger in the hippo, one finger in the
One-
rhino. Okay, I'm 100 yards away in a jeep taking the photo. All right, Amit's gonna do it. That's far as I'm concerned. Yeah, man, bro. Why can't Diet Coke? Sorry, oops, Diet Coke sponsor our program. I mean, you're
we
giving them
should.
so much
I know,
attention.
man. I give them so much
And you
publicity
do it
all
in
the
the
time.
subtle way also, which is the best way, the classiest way to do it. Till
No,
I,
it's
of
the way
course,
that they really
screw it
like
up.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but any classy product would like that. And we're talking about whatever, and sip comes in 7 or 8
Yes,
times in a 1 hour thing, and boom, who can ask for more?
that is
And,
true.
and the
I should.
colors are almost like it's been
It's
done
yeah,
by a
very
stylist.
unique color.
Unique. No, the color contrast, the blue of your shirt,
Yes,
the background which is white, the
I pay
reddishness.
attention to this stuff.
I'm not saying you don't. That's all I'm saying. I'm leaving that thought. Hang it out there. Let people grab it if they want to. Okay, let's get a couple more in, man. Silvery?
Yes. The next one comes in from S. Kumar. That's Sushil Kumar Cyrus,
Oh,
your favorite wrestler.
before we go to Sushil Kumar, I want to ask him. The bugger's got Silvery. You tell me. He's got
Yeah.
painkillers. The tooth is paining, and he's drinking Diet
Yeah.
Coke. Now, is not Diet Coke not good for the teeth? Isn't that
I'm
like
drinking
proven?
something
That's what
cold.
I've heard.
I just keep sipping
Okay.
something cold.
And who's a
And
hippo
that's
now? I mean, hypocrite, huh? Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, next one.
Okay. The next one comes in from S. Kumar. He says,
Sushil
you're,
Kumar. Oh God, which one of us is frozen?
I think that's Antariksh.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
You bloody idiot! Figure out your Wi-Fi.
Okay, so from Eskumar, your thoughts on the Denmark-Finland match continued after a near death on the field.
Did you know? Did you see what happened, Amit?
So I've kind of vaguely heard about this,
I'll
but
tell
I
you.
don't know exactly what happened.
This Danish player, Christian Eriksen, he collapsed on the pitch. All right, and ultimately it was a cardio arrest, a proper heart attack. No,
Oh,
that's not.
okay.
It was. That's what it was. And basically, they quickly, the on-field doctor, etc., the players came around and they took him back, and he's okay at the moment. He's recovering, and they're hoping full recovery will happen. So it's all good. But they
That's
were
good.
shattered. Football world was shattered. Players couldn't focus properly. The two supporters, and this is the good side of humanity. Finland and Danish guys going at each other till this incident happened. They started shouting. The Danes would shout Christian, and the Finns would shout Eriksen. They
I
kept
heard that. Yeah.
chanting. That's lovely. I love these
Yeah.
stories. At least you can see there's some appreciation for humanity, and it's really brought the football world and people who follow sports together, because you really feel bad for a young guy like collapsing on a pitch, and the game continued, and everybody's had their comments about it. I, of course, and not to be insensitive, I was just thinking maybe the organizers thought, oh, heart attack, thank God, not COVID. No, this is just my thought. I mean, don't propagate this, because that's their big fear, because they've gone all over Europe to avoid it, keeping them in small bags of groups of people, etc. But yeah, but let's hope he's okay. But the modern lifestyle, an athlete, a football athlete, world class athlete, he plays in the English Premier League as well, plays for Denmark, and yet has all
You
the
never
medical
know.
problems. Yeah, it didn't really happen, I think, in years gone by, or maybe we just didn't notice it. But now lots of people in their 30s and late 20s and all are succumbing to heart issues and strokes and brain issues and all that, which is a little scary about where the world is turning. And this
Well,
is an athlete, physical specimen, which is above, say, you and me in terms
Right.
of genetics. But
No, genetics and exercise, man. He probably exercise more in a
when
day than.
genetics and exercise come together, you've got a guy who's got better health than you and me, generally speaking. But
Oh.
obviously not. In spite of training, as they train like animals. For God's sake, they watch their diets, etc. He's as fit as he can get. And
Yeah. No,
That's
it's
it.
hard, man. It is a very,
It's
very
the mockery of the whole thing. It's almost like whatever's going to happen is preordained sometimes. And that people will keep telling you stop smoking, stop drinking, watch this, watch the diet, blah blah blah. And then you see somebody like that following, and you're like, oof, what the hell? Might as well just go for it. But the good news is
yeah.
he'll be okay. So
That
as of
that
now,
that that's good.
yeah,
Cool. Let
yeah.
me look for a couple of questions in here. Okay, so there's something from Shantanu Dubey. Azerbaijan used to have governors in medieval ages for 30 days. Do you think electing an MLA or MP for 5 years shuns the accountability? Do you think the
I
terms are too
absolutely
long?
agree. I'm sure you would love to dive into
No,
this.
I kind of agree as well.
I like the recall system. I feel the recall system really keeps them on their toes. Now, you might say too much power to the democracy and whatever, and the
Yeah.
chance of the Silveries come back. But having said that, I think if you have a recall, maybe 30 days is too much, but maybe 6 months and a recall option. Because that means 6 months deliver. Give it a fair time because 30 days is really not a fair time. Six
So
months, yeah,
I would split the baby. I agree with what you're saying, right? I think that 5 years is too long a term. I think that 5 years allows,
without
like, for
interference.
not just interference, right? Think about this, right? We had a national election in 2019, right?
Right,
The next national election is going to be in 2024.
right.
Is COVID going to be a criteria in that election 3 years from now?
Well, maybe not. If it's not, then that's all swept under the carpet. If
Exactly.
by
So,
then the world is changed.
but it's a big deal, right? So, I mean, like, I think that that should be a part of the election conversation that occurs.
Yearly. You're saying yearly.
I
Giving a year.
yearly might be. I would say every 2 years, maybe every 3 years, something like that. But 5 years feels long.
Logistically, you're saying because of cost to company, once every
Yeah.
2 years rather than once every 6 months. But I'm saying there
Yeah.
must be a way to do more direct democracy sort of thing where we can, the cost can be a little more efficient. You don't have to stand out in numbers now that you're going to go online and stuff.
Hmm.
Like Switzerland does. Switzerland has rejected a tax increase for carbon dioxide. Okay, the carbon dioxide, in the sense, it's an anti-climate tax. What's the word?
Okay.
Anti-environment tax to help stop climate change, basically. So it's
Hmm.
called a carbon dioxide law for what it's worth. They have direct democracy, like a referendum. So they
Huh.
basically rejected it. The tax going up, which was only meant to propagate awareness on climate change and how to fight it, right? So it's a good tax in a sense. They said, no, screw you, I don't want to do it. I'm telling you, you want Indians to pay tax? Let us be involved in tax validation from now only. Let's discuss it. And you see, suddenly we'll all do voting. The moment we can be in charge of all the tax laws.
At that point in time, yeah, of course.
Now you'll say you have
No,
to have
that,
a established adult democracy where people will think properly and it's a little scary or whatever. But I just think recall should be in place because everywhere else the recall is in place. Our show gets cancelled if we don't work. Everything, whatever you do in life, targets in a bank and in a corporate sector, wherever you are, small business, you got to perform. So why not there? 5 years is like it's just blanket to relax, and then you say, "Chal, tu ja 5 साल के लिए, फिर मैं वापस आएगा 5 साल के बाद." It's almost like they have an understanding sometimes.
so I
So
mean, like, there is a flip side to the exact argument, exact as well, right? That sometimes unpopular decisions need to be taken for the greater good, and it's a Republican government. It's not a democratic government. We elect representatives. Representatives are supposed to make they're supposed to make
they
decisions,
answer
not
to us.
direct people.
They are our government servants. That's the word. I just read it.
No, they are our they do answer to us, but they are our representatives, right? So the difference between direct democracy and republicanism, right, in that sense, is you in a republic you elect people to
Who
decide to
represent
work
you?
for you,
Yeah,
and but then they apply their own judgment, right? In a direct democracy, the people make every choice.
that's why it's called direct. Now, but this direct
Oh,
and indirect, we understand that.
correct,
My point
correct.
is, if you have the recall option, we stay with the indirect democracy module, our Republican government module. That's fine. Just give them a shorter area.
I,
That's
I
it.
i agree.
So that they have to perform because they're on their toes now. Because Silvery, Amit, and Cyrus will vote against them continuing because they've not been able to build the bridges. The infrastructure is terrible. The commerce, and according to us, is bad. The GDP has dropped. Whatever the reasons are, we've decided that we don't want to give you another chance. We're recalling you. Give the other guy a chance.
So I think shorter election terms are better. I don't like recalls. I've never been a fan of the recall system. I've never liked it in the US. I don't like it when they do it in California. I feel like it's just bizarre. It leads to bad behavior. It leads to a lot of gotchaism. I just am not a fan of the recall system, but shorter terms, 2 year, 3 year term. Because when you elect somebody, let them have some predictability about how much time they have.
Amit, let me decide this. Let me think properly when I'm relaxed after my massage, and I will decide what is good for India. If I don't
Okay,
decide, who will decide? All right, let's just take this on advisement.
fair point.
Okay, let's do a quick last question.
Yes,
Because Silvery, your Wi-Fi sucks. Now you laughed at
Yep.
me. Wait. You laughed at me in
Yeah, it's
Alibag.
terrible.
In India. You laughed at how I tried to put five phones together to create a satellite radio of my own to talk to people in Mars. You
Yeah.
laughed. And then you laughed at me in Malba Hill with the rich lane with tere paas Wi-Fi nahi Gandu. Okay. Now explain to me what happened. Mr. Tech, explain to me what happened.
Man,
Call Dilip Laande,
this
your MLA, and explain to me. He's responsible for Wi-Fi. Huh? Right now, he's
yeah,
collecting
correct.
garbage.
That's exactly what happened. Dilip Laande showed up and he disconnected my Wi-Fi. Like, oh, you guys are talking ill about me. I control your area. I control your Wi-Fi. I'm gonna cancel it.
But you're on a high floor, na?
And
To throw
Dilip
garbage on
Laande
a
was
high
just
floor.
here and he was like cursing us, basically.
Yeah. Without him, where will India go? We need him. Oh, in Maharashtra. Let's not, as Amit says,
Yes,
let's
exactly.
localize our situation. Let's
Exactly.
not bother. We're not going to cure Jabalpur's ills. We have to stay where we are.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. Sorry.
yeah.
Yes, sure.
Um,
This one comes in from. Should I, Amit? You have one in
yeah,
mind?
go for it. Go for it. I don't have anything.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
have
This
anything. Go
one
for it.
comes
Go
in
for
from
it.
Spurti Venkatesh. She says, "Hey Cyrus, Amit, and Silvery, what is your favorite conspiracy theory? And if you guys had to start one with respect to Indian politics, what would it be?"
But he hates conspiracy theories. He's almost
Yeah,
like
I'm not a fan.
a conspirationist, if that is the right word.
Yeah,
Google it fast. Yeah. And in fact, we
close
argue
enough.
about it all the time. Whenever I say this could be the reason, that could be the reason, the underlying reason, and this layer and that layer, that irritates the crap out of me. When there's no direct transfer of money from one bank to another. So, which is our favorite conspiracy theory? Um, that's a we'll have to think
So,
about
which
some
is
point.
the funnest conspiracy theory? I have an answer for that.
Kennedy will be your bugbear.
No, yeah. I mean, like, because again, see, all that stuff is you have to really, really get into the. Larry Wilmore has this thing that he says, right? That to believe in a conspiracy theory, right? I mean, like, basically, you're demanding belief in the. You don't want to believe what is obvious, but you're demanding belief of the impossible as well, right? At the same time, and I like that formulation because what it tells me is that basically the idea of something like a JFK, where there are a lot of questions, the idea you have to actually debate it, right? So for me, the favorite ones are the ones which people just believe and are just like so nonsensical on the face of it, right? So flat Earth theory is one of my favorite ones. I love when people believe the Earth is flat. I love when people believe that. I love the astrology stuff, right? That to me, I mean, like I don't know if that falls into a
We
conspiracy
had a big
theory.
fight over the moon landings. We had a big fight
Yeah.
over the moon landings. I'm
Well,
telling you, that it's possible because
you
nobody
were
went up
wrong
for
about it.
a long time. Well, they've gone now, but but for 30 years nobody went. So I'm talking about 69. What happened in
Yeah.
69? Yeah, okay.
They
This
landed
sounds
on the
vulgar. If you
moon.
just look at me smiling, this
Yeah.
what the hell's wrong? 69 is a year. Okay, it's also a year where lots of things happen in 1969. Okay,
Yeah,
it was off
yeah, but
topic.
it's the year that Neil Armstrong and Buzz
It's
Aldrin landed on
questionable.
the moon.
Maybe not. Indian conspiracy. We'll come
There's
back to that one day.
no maybe, maybe not. They landed on the moon, dude.
Desi. He wants a Desi conspiracy
They see
with respect to
conspiracy.
Indian politics. So, well, there's
No
one
monkey
already about
man.
Prashant
I
Kishore, Sharad Pawar, and Prashant Kishore coming together
Hmm.
now to form a pan-India party. They had lunch on Thursday somewhere. In fact, we saw the cars passing, so we were the first to know in the Walkeshwar area when they were coming back from his office area, YB Chavan. So now the new conspiracy is that he's going to launch an all-party national party movement to take on, almost like a coalition with a proper sort of, rank and file,
right.
uh, like a corporate structure that they'll have. And they'll already predispose who's going to be what and what, so they don't have to fight after that. And then take on the BJP in 2024 with this new order.
That's
That's
interesting.
I don't know if conspiracy is the right word, but that's the whisper or
But
gossip.
that's actually
Pre-conspiracy.
it's
Yeah.
an exciting possibility because
Yeah.
it's not like the Congress is going to do a good job of taking on the BJP.
Hmm.
So
What other Indian conspiracy theories are there?
I
Can we
don't
think
know
of?
what are there.
The Sachin Vaze one was excellent. The Sachin Vaze whole story
Oh,
is amazing.
yeah.
Just story wise,
Also,
going by the story. The
today is
whole
the death
200
anniversary
crore restaurant thing also. Oh yes, sorry, please go ahead. Yeah.
of
You're right.
Sushant Singh Rajput. Now that's the conspiracy of all
Yeah.
conspiracies. I mean, one actor, one performer, and one writer and newscaster came together and created uh, a possible controversy out of nothing. And for 6 months,
Yes.
not regaled is not the right word, captured the imagination of Indian audiences and
Hmm.
just spun tales.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one that's coming to my mind too, as like the most
Active.
uh, active, ridiculous followers, true believers, right? I mean, like they really do believe that they are out to expose this stuff. So, I mean, like, yeah, I think that's a good one. I think the Sushant Singh Rajput one's a. I can't think of that many others, man. I'm struggling
There
with.
are minor, there are minor superstitions which I can tell relate to personal level. It's like my
Uh,
mother would not let me wear a black T-shirt for some reason. She presumed that black T-shirts bring bad luck. So for
but
many years I was
that's
forbidden. But these
that's
are
more.
conspiracy theories.
But isn't
Uh,
that more superstition than
yeah,
conspiracy theory?
it was a leap of faith. I just got bored of the conspiracy. So to
Yeah.
entertain Spruti, who appears to be a fine young lady, I decided to just go ahead with my black T-shirt conspiracy. Come
What about
superstition,
the
check me.
do like the India had all the technology in the past things? Does that fall into the
Oh, the
conspiracy?
flying vehicles. We discussed that
The
with the
flying
author.
vehicles,
Yeah,
the
Mr. Sumit Arora.
stealth stem surgery, the
Yeah,
ghost
yeah, yeah,
jobs,
yeah. But those
all
are
of this.
theories. That's a given. That's 100% given. We got proof.
Okay, all right, cool.
You don't challenge that proof, bro. Or I'll send Dilip Laande to your house with
I
seven
know.
bags of garbage. Huh? Yeah, he can be quite cruel, I tell you. Okay.
What about freedom fighter type struggles, right? Like Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru were responsible for Subhash Chandra Bose's plane going down because they felt like he was too much competition. Don't buy it in any way whatsoever, but that conspiracy does float around, right? Every so
But that
often.
better conspiracy is that he survived everything, and that he was
That's
in
another one.
Russia. That
Yeah.
story is, in fact, there's so many people who swear by it. They show pictures, and this is him at 50 and 60 and blah, blah, blah. Which, again, makes no sense because why would he not appear?
Was it?
Why?
Wasn't there a conspiracy also around Lal Bahadur Shastri's death?
Of course. How did that happen? Mysteriously,
There
blah,
was
blah,
a
blah.
movie made right recently
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's also a marg made in Ghatkopar called LBS Marg, which is a road,
It is
which
a
brings
road.
us back to the beginning of this show.
It
Take a
goes all
full
the way to the
circle.
Phoenix Mall. Yes.
There you go. And we're coming back to the beginning of this show, where we started with the road collapsing and temper tantrums, etc. I think that's the end of the show. It's been fabulous. People are clapping wherever they're listening, any part of the world. In Amsterdam, we have two people who listen to our show apparently, and so they are clapping and screaming like India scored a goal in the Euro Cup. By the way, my mom actually said this. I hope she doesn't see the show. Mom, we love you, but she actually said this. I'm not lying. I've done this gag in my written gag in the show, the TV show of ours. We're sitting on the dinner table talking about the Euro Cup, and last week, and I said, "Mom, so when is the opening game?" So she said, "Brazil and Argentina, I think on Friday." Yeah, and my daughter went berserk. She does the ROFL. She acts it out. She falls, and just like that brocha malice to put you down when you've done something stupid and not let you forget it. Yeah, but it was really funny and innocently done, but it was real humor. Just and then later on she was angry with me, because of the ridicule that followed and said, "But I'm right. It's Friday." So I said, "Yeah, okay, mom, it's Friday," and it was Friday. Friday was. It just wasn't two South American countries playing, but it was definitely Friday. Very much Italy, Turkey. All right. On that happy note, let's say bye bye. In the words of
Let's
Karan Johar.